Hello and good morning. Thanks for joining me again, everyone. If y'all could see how much time I spend on my hair prior to doing these videos, you would think I was quite vain, and maybe I am. Today in our series, Don't Be Scared, Be Prepared, this is our third videos deep. And today I'm going to be talking about typical title issues. So when I'm talking about title, I mean real estate title, not car title. I really don't know much about car title. That's handled under a different section of the code. I stick mainly in the real estate code. So as to real estate title, when there's something in the way of having a clear title chain, which is being able to identify owner to owner to owner to owner, you have something which is called a cloud. So they call it a cloud on title when your title is impeded. In my experience, the number one cloud on title is when someone has passed away and no one has settled their estate. So, for instance, I get a lot of calls where people say, hey, my grandma or my mother, whoever it was, died in 2012. And she left this house. And I find out there was no probate done. They never saw an attorney. No deeds were written. Nothing. So grandma died without a will and the house is just sitting here. The reason I'm getting a call is usually because they've gotten sued on a tax lawsuit and because the property's just been sitting there and no one's been paying the taxes. So that is actually, technically it's a title issue, but it's really more of a probate issue because it has to do with settling someone's estate after they pass away. In those instances, we can do things like affidavit of heirship. We can do disclaimers of interest. We can do warranty deeds amongst the heirs. Sometimes we do have to do probate in order to settle the title issues, particularly if there's a loan or a mortgage. That is definitely going to be something that requires a full probate. But there are less expensive alternatives. Now, I will say it's great to be able to do an affidavit of heirship, but you have to be able to name all of the heirs. And I see a lot of people who have no idea who their family is. So certainly we at Cadillac Law can search for your family and we can try to find those things. It will cost you money though. It's not free for us to do our job. What would be less expensive is if you could find your family and you know the familial history before you come in and hire us to do these issues, or to resolve these issues. Now, I know sometimes that's difficult because there's been a tax lawsuit and sometimes you didn't even know that you were an heir to the property. Now, isn't that exciting? Hey, welcome to this lawsuit on this property you didn't even know about. But luckily, we're able to usually either help people get out of that lawsuit by either disclaiming their interest or signing their interest off to someone else, or we can help people get through the lawsuit, settle the title issues, and actually buy the property by paying the back taxes. So even if there are 100 heirs and there's, let's say, $100,000 of back taxes, each heir is going to owe $1,000 of back taxes if they want to keep their interest. And if heir 1 through 10 come in and they pay all of it for years and years and years, eventually they can do something called quiet title and basically reclaim their equitable interest, was what we call it. So they're building equity in the property by paying the taxes and maintaining the property. That's why it's important that you contact an attorney after someone passes away, whether or not they've done estate planning. So I know in our last 2 videos, we talked about estate planning, like preparing yourself. Part of the reason you need to do that is to prevent what I'm talking about today, because what happens today is that you're going to end up costing these heirs a lot of money. And sometimes what you end up costing the heirs because you weren't prepared before you passed away is worth, or will cost more than what the property's worth. And in those cases, your property is just going to go to the government. And I don't know about you, but I did not work my whole life for the government to take my stuff. So that's personal. I don't want the government to take my stuff. It takes a long time for the government to take your stuff. It doesn't just escheat, is what they call it, to the government like this. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take many years of not paying the taxes. But eventually, it might be just less expensive for your heirs to say, you know what, we'll let the government have it. Don't do that. Just call me and let's do an estate plan. Let's figure that out. But if you are an heir and you are in this position where you're like, what do I do? Do I get this property? Can I get this property? What do I do? If you've gotten a tax lawsuit, do call us. That's where we can really help you figure out if you even want to pursue the claim, if it's worth the money, and how to settle the estate. So again, I'm Lauren Cadillac, and this is Cadillac Law, and this is video 3 of Be Prepared, Don't Be Scared. We've talked briefly about some title issues that really had to do with heirship, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me today. Give us a call at 972-845-1200 and check out our website at www.cadillaclaw.net. Make sure you hit subscribe below. I learned that from watching my daughter's YouTube. Hit subscribe below and make sure you tell your friends about our videos. What better do you have to do right now? We're all in quarantine.